Welcome to side 2. Here are John and Christine with your next batch of news.
Track 5. Thank you, Carol and Peter. Up to 140 jobs at a book firm are at risk after it was taken over by a rival company in a £20 million deal. Dawson Books, which is based in Brindley Close, Rushden, has agreed to sell up to Smith's News in a move which could see the site closed and relocated to Norwich. Smiths says relocation is a serious option and would leave staff facing the prospect of moving to East Anglia or losing their jobs. But the sale will not be finalised until September at the earliest, and the company says it will not close the site this year. Dawson Books employs a total of 408 staff and supplies 80% of the country's universities. Smith's News is looking to buy the company to use it as a platform for e-books with its own wholesale Bertrams. Asked about the future of the staff at the Rushden site, Nick Harknett, Managing Director of Dawson Books, said, "The honest answer is we don't know what is happening yet. For the business, it is good news, and the fact that they have paid £20 million for it shows that it is a good business. It has been accepted by our board, but it is a long way from being completed. We are not expecting it to be completed until early September. Clearly, the business needs to review the options, and one option is to close Rushden, but that is something Smiths have to come out and say. I don't see them being in a position to close anything in the short term, but it clearly is an option in the long term. It is business as usual at the moment, and we will be consulting with staff." A spokesman for Smith's News said, "Our acquisition announcement confirms that relocation of the Rushden operation is a serious option, but it's important to stress that we are at the very early stages. Any decision will be subject to confirmation and staff consultation. We can confirm that any proposal, if confirmed, would not look to relocate the facility this year." Dawson Books and the other two divisions of the company, Dawson Media Direct and Dawson Marketing Services, will all be sold to Smith's News, subject to shareholder approval.
After more than 400,000 haircuts, a barber has hung up his clippers and retired after 50 years. David Watford has been running his own shop in Wellingborough Road, Findon, since 1995. The Wellingborough man first started his career working for Lewis Darnell in Newton Road, Rushden in 1960. He then went on to work at Frank Page's in Kettering Marketplace in 1965. It was in 1966 that Mr. Watford decided to open his own business, and his self-titled shop opened in Hollington Road, Raunds, that year. He went on to own a shop in Brook Street, Raunds, before moving his business to Findon in 1995. Over the years, Mr. Watford has seen a whole range of styles come and go. He said in 1966, haircuts cost 14.5 for girls and 2 shillings for boys. All the styles have gone full circle. The present-day style of very short and gelled used to be called the mod cut, and the longer hair fashions were around in the late 60s. Everything that is about today I've done before. Mr. Watford said he remembers cutting many Mr. T. Mohican hairstyles when the A-Team star was at the height of its popularity in the 1980s. The 65-year-old keen DIY enthusiast is now looking forward to spending his time in his garage workshop, and he plans to learn how to weld this winter. He added, "I'm looking forward to sitting down after spending all my career standing up. I've enjoyed my career and I've always been passionate about my job. Most of my customers have ended up as my friends." He also plans to soon take a well-deserved holiday with his wife Eileen. Mr. Watford wished to reassure his clients that his Findon barber shop would remain open and will be run by Trevor Pears, who will continue to operate his appointment system.
Margaret Smith never got to meet her baby brother Murray before he was put up for adoption just days after he was born. His parents had separated by the time he was born, and his mum had to go and live with her mother. She already had one child, and his grandmother said there wasn't room for another child in her small house. So a couple who couldn't have children themselves paid £5 6 shillings and a penny to adopt Murray. He was 10 years old when they told him he was adopted, but he has always thought of them as his real parents, and it wasn't until both his mum and dad had passed away that he started thinking about his birth family. While sorting through his mum's house after she died, Murray found some papers, including his adoption certificate, listing the names of his birth parents. He also learned that he had originally been named John Woodford, but his adoptive parents renamed him. At the suggestion of his daughter, Natalie, they made an appointment to go to the Northampton Records Office in 2004 to see what more they could discover. Natalie said, "It was a dead end. All I knew at the time were the names of Dad's birth mother and father. It wasn't until 2006 that we found out he had a sister." The search started up again just a few weeks ago when the family was watching ITV's Long Lost Family. The programme suggested a few websites to trace for tracing relatives, and Natalie decided to give it a go. She said, "Time is getting on, and I told my dad if he wanted to get in touch, we have to do something about it now." Dad didn't want to do anything while his parents were alive because he didn't want to upset them, but he always wondered about his sister. Using a website called findmypast.co.uk, Natalie paid £7 for a number of search credits. After just 4 hours of searching birth and marriage records, she was able to find out her dad's sister was called Margaret Woodford, and her married name was Smith. She said, "Of all the names to come up, Smith must be the most common. But I went on the electoral roll and found just 2 in Northamptonshire. I hand-wrote a letter and sent it to both Margaret Smiths in Northamptonshire. A lady rang me the next day, saying she was the one we were looking for. I couldn't believe we had found her after 60 years. That was the best £7 I've ever spent." It transpires Margaret, 65, had been trying to trace her brother too. Her father had told her about Murray when she was 16, but she didn't know where to start her search. Murray, 62, of Broadway, Kettering, said, "When I first spoke to her, I didn't know what to say. I got a bit emotional. I had never been bothered about finding my birth parents because Mum and Dad were my parents. They brought me up and gave me the best life they could. But I did want to find my sister. She lives in Welton, and it turns out I'd been driving past her house on the way to a job for 3 weeks. His wife, Anne, said, "When I spoke to her, I described Murray to her, and she said, 'That's my dad to a T.' Since getting in touch with his sister, he's discovered he also has 2 nephews and a half-brother who lives in Weymouth." Murray and Anne met Margaret and her husband for the first time on Saturday at what they say will be the first of many future family get-togethers. Murray said, "I was a bit nervous because before we first got there, but it went very well. As soon as I saw her, I got a bit emotional. I said to her, 'I always said I had a sister, and now I really do.' Meeting her was just what we were hoping for, and we will definitely be staying in touch and meeting up again. I'm so grateful to Natalie for finding her."
Police chiefs hope bringing together detectives from forces across the East Midlands will save millions of pounds. Teams of detectives in Northamptonshire, Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire, Derbyshire and Lincolnshire will join forces this autumn, saving an estimated £2.6 million each year. And it is hoped the move will mean more successful investigations into major incidents, such as the murder of the Ding family in Northamptonshire in April. Regional Deputy Chief Constable Peter Goodman, who was in charge of the collaboration, said the move was driven by the need to save money, but also a desire to provide a better service. He said this will draw together the best detectives in the region under the best leadership, and it will improve our resilience. For example, in Derbyshire in the past 6 weeks there have been 5 murders. Police were not at breaking point, but they were very stretched. Under the new system they will be able to draw on the resources of the other forces and the other way round. Deputy Chief Constable Goodman said the savings would be made by reducing the existing 5 tiers of management to 1. He said there would be fewer detectives than at present, but would not discuss numbers, and that overtime would be cut to save more money. The new system will see detectives from across the East Midlands working together on serious criminal offences including murder, kidnapping and drug trafficking. A spokesman for Northamptonshire Police said, "In Northamptonshire we have highly skilled specialist officers who provide excellent support in major investigations. Increased regional collaboration will enable us to support other forces when they face a major investigation, and also to call on those resources ourselves. We anticipate that this will result in savings as we share systems, and we will improve resilience in this important area of work."
Students gave seeds to youngsters at a town centre children's centre to encourage them to grow vegetables. Students from Tresham's College Early Years courses visited Croyland Children's Centre and Primary School in Wellingborough on Tuesday, May the 24th, to give out the special springtime packs. The growing packs contain seeds, plants and equipment, and students have been taking them to local schools to encourage children in the area to take part in fun activities and learn how the garden grows. The growing packs have been supplied by Bosworth's Garden Centre in Burton Latimer and Kettering Huxlow Rotary Club. Lindsay Barnett, tutor for Level 3 Diploma in Childcare and Education at Tresham College, said, "Our learners have been working closely with Bosworth Garden Centre to plan this project, and we hope to provide the starter packs to 40 different schools and nurseries in the Northamptonshire area. While our learners are on their weekly work placements, they are able to work closely with the staff and children to look after their plants and help them grow."
Members of a luncheon group for older people have celebrated their first year at a new centre after losing their old home. The Ron Manning Centre Luncheon Group opened last year following the closure of the Valentine Centre in Grove Street, Raunds, last May. The closure was met with a public outcry, and campaigners organised a petition which was signed by 1,000 people, but Serve, the charity which ran the centre, said it could not keep the facility open because it would leave it facing a shortfall of at least £60,000. After the initial backlash, a new luncheon group was opened in its place at Serve's Ron Manning Centre in Upper Kings Avenue, Higham Ferrers. Now, a year on, staff, members and volunteers have celebrated their first anniversary. Centre manager Gilly Carter said, "We came to the Ron Manning Centre last year, and when we opened up the new club, the majority of our clients from the Valentine Centre came over to use this centre. It was worrying when we first moved, and we worried about whether we'd get the numbers coming along, but we've got some new members along with our long-standing clients. Some of them have been coming to us for 20 years. The clients were devastated when the other centre closed, but it has been a wonderful year since we moved into the new centre. I would also like to pay tribute to our wonderful volunteers, and we're always looking for more good volunteers to help out, because we couldn't manage without them. The club provides a social environment for its members, and it is open every day from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Kathleen Winfield, 78, of Little Addington, said, "We've had a fun first year, and we always enjoy coming to the group. I was upset when we left Raunds, but that was natural because we were used to it."